This is going to be the most recent D&D story I've had so far, and it's mostly because things just kind of seem to work out in such a way that it got stuck in our memories. Almost as much as when this very same group, not the same characters, got stranded on an island and the bard and rogue tried to climb up a coconut tree and assaulted one another with coconuts. The story takes place in 5th edition D&D and uses the virtual tabletop program Fantasy Grounds. And before this turns into a Roll20 versus Fantasy Grounds debate, for the price tag, Fantasy Grounds is fantastic, and after trying it out for a bit for free, I went and bought the standard edition on it for Steam for all of my players. The party in question lives in the campaign setting of Farland, this world in the making that's been a free resource for players online since 3.5 days. Long story short, it's a pseudo-typical elves versus orcs world where the evil of the world has, for the most part, been on the winning side for a while. The characters are played by my good friends, and we typically reveal all roles, NPC and PC alike. This stops any such fudging, and the only time I've hidden roles are for obvious situations like hidden NPCs. Fantasy Grounds has this nice feature where you can click and drag the math of a role from attacks, spells, or damage and drag it over the token for a character if it has the stat block, and bam, all the math is done for you. This is kind of important for the story, trust me. The party consists of a 5-party team of level 4 characters, a dragonborn monk of the elements named Devela, a half-elf bard of the College of Swords named Duelin, Ingwolf or Iggy, a human fighter of the champion subclass as a DMPC, the Tiefling Ranger of the Longbow, a subclass provided by the Farland site, named Ramstein. Yes, I approved of this name because I like it. And Leaf, an Elven Druid of the Moon, which gives her more wild shape flexibility, also important for the story. The party awakens in the town of Dragonsburst City, a bustling metropolis that has been partially occupied by the evil forces left behind by the last wars. Orcs, goblins, tieflings, all sorts of the world's more evil-inclined races. So, before the day begins, Devela points out a note that was left in her sleep in her native tongue, stating from someone, she's not sure who, that a treasure map that Leaf had found on some dwarven warriors a little whiles back leads to a cave that held something important for the monk. The party all agreed that it would be a good idea to check this out, but there was a little bit of time crunch for a tournament they were going to enter for a supposed massive profit. So if they were going to leave, they needed to do so as soon as possible, which gave Leaf enough time to check out the market and happen across a live giant octopus. This was something she was looking for specifically to get to know it for her wild shape abilities. I legit rolled a percentile and decided on a 100 that there would be one in the market, perhaps a specialty meal for one of the town's nobles. And I rolled a 100. So, before it was shipped off to a noble, she got a chance to give it a good long look over, familiarizing with the creature before heading out. This trip was going to be a tight one. They essentially had 2 days to travel out to this other town, Mistburg, that's a half a day's travel away, find this cave in a very, very, very hilly region, explore it, come back, and rest up before the tournament. The way to the town was on a main road and nothing stopped them. As soon as they got to Mistburg, they hop off the wagon, head north towards the hilly region. At about 2-3 miles from where they would expect the caves, they come to this river with a narrow bridge that crosses it. On the other side is this hulking orc with tribal tattoos that look like a heavily stylized bull on his chest, a huge long sword in his hand, and a short sword on his side.
If you want to cross these grounds, leave all your gold and jewelry. If not, turn the other way and leave.
A simple request, to be honest, but the party wasn't about to part with their relatively large amounts of money to cross a bridge. So the orc, obviously outnumbered, drew his sword and started counting down from 5. 2 more orcs came out of the bushes behind the party with crossbows aimed at their backs. On the count of 3 though, Duelin cast the heat metal spell, which makes the orc drop one of the swords and initiative suddenly starts. The battle more or less spreads out, Devela and Duelin on the large orc, Iggy, Ram, and Leaf charging at the crossbow-wielding orcs. The crossbow orcs weren't giving too much of a hard time, but they did have a hefty amount of HP to them, and the leader orc was a trial on his own for Duelin's sword and Devela's fists. All was going well, but suddenly the leader orc rolls to bull rush Duelin, Leonidas kicking him straight off the bridge and into a 10-foot deep whitewater rapids. And here is where that whole drag dice to the character to auto-roll attacks and damage came in. I had missed Doolin Soken on the map and he rolled a 16 and called out a hit with this attack, but it didn't show up on the chat. So I re-rolled it again and missed with a roll of 7. I kinda groaned about that, but Doolin's player said that if I wanted to go with the unseen roll, it's cool. And so, with a boot to the chest and a splash of the rapids, Doolin accepted the drama of possible death, not realizing that there was a waterfall that was maybe 200 feet tall, about 60-70 feet away. That's when Leaf jumped into action. She jumped right into the rapids, taking on the form of that giant octopus, grabbed Doolin to keep him from going any further down the river, clinging to both sides of the river itself. And with him grabbed, they synced up their initiative for a kind of combo attack. With 3 of her remaining arms, Leaf tossed Doolin underhand style out of the rapids and back into the fight. And as Doolin came down, he attacked the orc with his longsword, cutting him right down the middle and killing him. That's right, our octopus druid threw our bard from the water, thus allowing him to kill the orc leader. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. This was a shorter one because instead of talking about a typical topic of tabletop RPG gaming, I decided to go with a recent fun thing that happened in our recent campaigns. I don't do that a lot, so maybe I'll be doing it a little bit more often. After all, it's called D&D Stories, not D&D topics that span like 2 to 3 different games. If you guys enjoyed this video, like, comment below, and subscribing helps out the channel a lot. If you want to see more D&D stories from me and maybe support the channel's main content of Let's Plays, I do have a Streamlabs link below, and you can donate straight through YouTube itself. If you want to show some love to one of those characters' players, Melody Rhodes plays as Devela, and she's a fellow YouTuber. Linked for her channel in the description below. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care. Cheers.